And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, against a tale. Yes, a Derek approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot. Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
Now what do you think? Breaking it back. You always love that one. He's a rude.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
What are you doing?
We're the state of hockey, and I think that proves it, so.
Rosa, you don't know nothing. You like that? You like that? How do you like me now? How do you like me now?
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Run begins 5-3-4-2. Deadwood, Mortis, Layton, Lips, Electrobox, or whatever it's called. I'm common. He's 10 B. We call this a Fed Up Friday. Used to be a FedEx Friday. We mail it in on Fridays, another winning week. Then we left out the UPS guys, so now we change it to a phone it in Friday. But then we realized phone doesn't start with an F. It starts with a PH. That wouldn't work either. Even though phonetically they sound alike, but we're about accuracy here. And so then what we did was we decided, why don't we call it a Fed Up, mixing almost as if FedEx and UPS merged together and made it Fed Up. But I would suppose they would be too big of a conglomerate. It would be dominating, and they would have the market cornered. And I don't think, like, if there's two companies that would make a monopoly that's so powerful, I think those mergers sometimes are denied in federal courts or whatever, however that works. Don't ask me. I'm a high school dropout. Well, I will tell you is here at the radio station, and Tennessee can attest to this, we have what we have always referred to as the free table. And it's located inside the break room, the cafeteria. We have two refrigerators. We have two microwave ovens. We have a pizza maker, coffee maker. You know, like most places, right? We got a vending machine.
Sure.
both for beverages and for snacks and such like that. And so there's 3 tables in there. And anytime somebody has something that they don't want anymore and think it might be of value to somebody else, they put it on the free table. And for years, it would be like, for instance, let's say, speaking of 7th Avenue Pizza, Meat Sauce's place, they might put some pizza certificate, buy one, get one free available to people here at the radio station. Or maybe Cane's, with Corey Cove's penchant for chicken, they might bring in some food and put it on there. Sometimes, a Panera or whoever. I don't want to leave anybody. We've had a lot of business. Dickie's Barbecue would do it every once in a while. What's the latest ones? Hot Chicken. Is it Dave's Hot Chicken? I think that's the name of the place. They'll bring in things, right? And we get a chance to try them. Other times there'll be swag.
Yeah.
Right? For instance, like let's say there's a new movie coming out. And the movie, the movie studio wants to promote it, so they'll send the radio station hundreds of hats or key chains or whatever the case may be, T-shirts and such like that, put them on the free table. Occasionally there'll be a box of Pro V1 Titleist golf balls on the free table. Occasionally there'll be.
I don't take them because I can afford my own golf balls.
Well, that's exactly. You don't do that. For the first time ever, Tennessee, I saw something I never thought I would see on the free table. Cans of dog food. And I didn't even know they were dog food. I thought it was Underwood deviled ham mix, and I opened it up and I started eating one of them.
Is it delicious?
Oh, I all of a sudden started scratching behind my ears, and I started to go woof, woof, woof. Who's giving away dog food?
I have no idea.
But it's beginning to disappear. Because I think
people are taking it?
There were like 13, 14 cans there at one time, and now there looks like there's only 3 or 4. Dog food on the free table. What's next? And again, I'm not against it or anything. I just found it surprising. I saw cans, and I really did think it was like, have you ever had Underwood deviled ham? It's got the little, the Satan on the front with his pitchfork. It's been around for decades. I remember as a kid, we would have it around the house. And you can look it up, Underwood deviled ham, and you can see it. And it's canned ham. That's all mixed up like a tuna fish, but it's got something mixed up in it. Whether you like it or not is a whole other story. And there was dog foods out there. So anyway,
has Lil B taken it all?
Well, I don't know if she has. I'm going to ask her when she comes in if she's taken some of the dog. Did you take anything for Roma, sorry.
I have not, just because at her age and with some health concerns right now, they have her on a strict diet, so she's eating the same thing over and over and over and over again.
I'll tell you how advertising works. I mean, we all know Kennel Ration, right? We all know Purina, right? We all know Kibbles and Bits. These are all names of dog foods. There's also Puppy Chow, Monkey Chow, Cycle 1, Cycle 2, Cycle 3, and for the dog who bites the neighbor's kids when you ain't got no insurance, Final Cycle. He's going to love it. Copyright Wild Bill Bauer. I did that bit on the radio not long ago. But the one that sticks in my mind is the Fresh Pet commercial. The one where the mafia guys, so you've seen it, right? Where they're sitting in the room playing cards. And one guy comes in, he's going to throw some food into the refrigerator. He goes, well, it's just dog food in the refrigerator. And then the guy, apparently he starred in Sopranos. I think he was a Sopranos guy. And he goes, that ain't dog food. That's fresh pet. It's filled with, meat and vegetables and stuff like that. Nothing's too good for my little thing. He's got a little tiny dog behind him. And then the guy that brought in that was questioning, he goes, what are we doing? And they all just kind of glare at him. The next scene is closing the trunk of the car. And then he tells the dog, as he's feeding his dog, mafia guy goes, he says, if they ask you, we were at Grandma's house.
Brilliant!
And that sticks out of my mind, Fresh Pet. So anyway, it looks so good, I'm not suggesting I would eat it. I've told you we ate dog biscuits when we were kids. Well, we tried it. When you're 6 years old, you're not very bright, right? And we're giving these milk bone dog biscuits to our dog. We go, I wonder what they taste like. So as kids, we ate. I mean, we didn't do it more than once, because once you do it once, you go, this really doesn't taste very good. Then you feel bad that you gave it to the dog. What does he think of it? Have you seen the cat food commercial where the guy says that this cat food does so many things for my cat has more energy, His fur is better, and his breath doesn't stink as bad. It's like they're acting like it's some kind of miracle of modern science or something. It's still just cat food, for crying out loud, and I'm not sure I believe it's as good as any other cat food. But there you go, and I don't even know the name.
And has a dog or cat ever had nice breath?
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's the other thing too. So if
I feel like Roma's isn't that bad. I feel like I never really noticed her breath.
Someone told me, they say the dude in the commercial was on something called Blue Bloods. His name is Anthony. I thought they said it was Sopranos. So I guess it wasn't. It was on a show called Blue Bloods.
I don't know my mafia television shows very well.
I don't either. This person says, are any tarp shooters on the free table? They ain't going on the free table, no. There are no Common Man books on the free table either. As a matter of fact, they're almost all gone. Did I tell you that? I'm under...
You wrote a book?
Yeah. Oh, didn't I tell you? It's called Being the Common Man. Best, lousiest. I owe a lot of it to PJ Fleck, I'm not going to give him any of the proceeds. But because we're trying to come up for a title for the book was the hardest thing to do. And then, wasn't it some kind of documentary or something that came out?
I think so.
Being PJ Fleck. And I thought, well, that's the most preposterous thing. I mean, you talk about egotistical. What's it like being? So I thought it's perfect. Being the Common Man. Best, lousiest, best. Mark Rosen wrote the foreword, and I think he did. It could have, the foreword for me, written by Mark Rosen, could have been written by Jim Bruton, who wrote Rosen's book, but it is there. Just $25, tax, title, licenses for sale right now. I'm under 90 books. I know I keep saying that, but I am. I'm under 90 books, and there were 5,232 when we started. I got one in my bag to mail out later today. A young lady named Denise. And I don't know if it's for herself. It could be. And the Radio Romeo could be for her husband, father, significant other, but those are available. We have plenty to get to today, including, of course, our feature on Friday, what we really like to wrap our arms around, and that would be Lil B. She joins us at 1 o'clock, Feminine Touch of the program, a couple of segments with her. And then the ever-popular program password, Tenneby, which will be...
oh, boy.
Lil B and I and Nordo. We'll be playing today along with Amy James from K102. Nordo and I were talking earlier because I think we're a team. And,
you are.
And here's what Nordo said. He goes, if we're behind at halftime, let's just have fun after that. And I said, well, we're probably going to be behind at halftime. I told him, much like my golf game for program, I feel like I'm either brilliant or brutal. And brilliant might be a stretch, but sometimes it's just like, wow. The clues I give, this is so good, and they get it right away. Or somebody gives me a clue, and I just find maybe that's because they're giving me a good clue, and I find it. Other times I'm just, I'm sort of a combination of muss and fullness, which isn't very good, right?
Not what you want to be compared to.
No, that's
in
for
program
sure.
Password.
We'll also keep you updated on what's happening in the Minnesota State High School hockey tournament as soon as I can get it back on. For some reason, PA was watching SEC women's basketball quarterfinal.
Nice of him to care about the tourney.
In the state of hockey.
Yeah.
And that's why you know that PA is not originally from here, because anybody originally from here would never have anything but the Minnesota State High School hockey tournament on. What is the score in that game right now?
It's 3-0. St. Cloud Cathedral has the lead over Orono, and they are, I don't know the exact time, but it's getting towards the later, 4:37 left in the second period. So still time, but...
It's a Class A semifinal game in St. Cloud Cathedral. They are the defending champs. We'll break. We'll come back. Controversial Vikings news. Other side of the break here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Join Meat Sauce and Miller Lite at Duke's Pizza Pub in Oakdale next Thursday from 5 to 7. Stop by to register for a chance to win a spot in the Vikings Foundation Golf Tournament. Get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword golf.
Did you say Oakdale?
Yeah.
That's over my neck of the woods. Maybe I'll pay a visit to Meat Sauce. Support him in his appearance.
Next Thursday, 5 to 7, Duke's Pizza Pub.
Oh, Thursday, 5 to 7? What a bad break for me. They're delivering the asphalt in that 5 to 7 o'clock window is what they told me. That's unfortunate. No, I think I might go visit Meat Sauce.
Huh?
Verbally slap them on the back. All sorts of text messages coming into the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. You can reach us at 64686. This one says, actors can star on more than one show. You know, he was on Sopranos and Blue Bloods. because Deuce had told me he was on The Sopranos. How Deuce knows The Sopranos, I think, was around before he was born. But Deuce really likes television and movies, and he's kind of a TV movie buff. Here's someone asks, are there any laundry shrunk game-worn jerseys on the free table? I'm not aware of that. Is that an inside joke? Has that happened at one time
I think
here?
it's an old Jeff Dubé joke.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
This one...
Because he may... Well, I don't want to go further with it.
Now, think about this. I've received at least 2, and it looks like 3 iterations of the same joke, so I'll just pick one. Are Tenebe's 15-year-old golf shoes on the table? So, again, people... That just goes to show you an elephant never forgets.
No.
This is material sometimes that is... Well, like, if you say it's a Dubé thing, think of how long ago that was.
Yeah.
But people still remember the classic moments on the fan. Maybe we should do... have we ever... You know how we do best of? Should we ever do, like, classic KFAN moments and then just play some...
Well, we kind of have done that bit before.
Have we done that bit before?
We've probably done it multiple times, actually.
There haven't been many from this show. They would probably always involve, guess what, the Power Trip Morning Show. Because, you know what? Like when they do the TI takeover, there's nothing more funny than that. There's just laughs for everyone. Time now for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. They are your old home specialist. They know old wiring like knob and tube, cloth-covered wiring, aluminum, and older fuse boxes. They understand the limitations, the potential safety concerns. They can thoroughly inspect an older home's electrical system, assess the condition, identify potential hazards, and recommend necessary upgrades or replacements. So go ahead and reach out to them. It's easy to do. It's affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric. It's shockingly affordable. There really isn't any Vikings news that I'm interested in right at this very moment, Tennessee, unless you found something that I have not. Which wouldn't surprise me because you cover the sports world like a blanket. This is a question somebody asked me to ask.
Well, I had sent you... I sent it to you last night. It's just one of those talking heads speculation kind of thing. But
yeah. That Kirk Cousins could come back to the Vikings. Is this just another guy looking to make a name for himself and get clickbait?
Sagging his prop. Or trying to prop up his sagging ratings.
Right, because I mean, especially if you are a Viking fan, if you see that, I would think most people would be aghast. Guys like Charge would be delighted. Who was this person and how did he come?
It was from the NFL Network.
Okay.
Greg Rosenthal.
Oh, Greg Rosenthal. I recognize that name. And what his speculation was, I didn't even look at it because I thought it was pure preposterousness. Is there anything to this? What was his? Did you?
Let me try to find the audio for this.
Yeah, because I'd like to hear how his theory or his logic as to how this could happen, because I find it hard to believe. I know the Vikings have a number of different options they can do. One that I recommended was to trade McCarthy for draft picks, sign Darnold, trade him for draft picks. Now you go from having the fewest draft picks in the NFL to the most. Then you sign a Justin Fields, and you've got your quarterback whisperer. So you got Fields or Darnold or Danny Dimes. Either one's going to be brilliant, because that's what everybody tells me, that nobody can coach up a quarterback better than KOC. But I thought for sure it's McCarthy, full steam ahead with Danny Dimes backing him up. But apparently there's another theory about what the Minnesota Vikings could do with the quarterback situation, and that includes bringing back Kirk Cousins.
So this is Daniel Jeremiah and Greg Rosenthal. I don't know which one is the one saying this.
It doesn't matter,
because I don't know what they look like. But it's basically like a podcast they're doing. It's actually an iHeartRadio podcast,
okay.
But you can also watch it on YouTube. And here's what one of the two had to say.
Nobody's talked about this, but I think it's a fascinating conversation. If, let's say, Sam Darnold leaves, Sam Darnold goes to the Steelers, right? So he's gone. If you're Minnesota, and here's the options, right? You have JJ. You're hoping he's going to be the guy, but you need a veteran there. You have Daniel Jones, who's been on your team last year. You have Kirk Cousins. Is available to come back as, buying you a little more time with JJ. Would you rather have Daniel Jones with what he's going to cost, which I would have to believe is a lot more than what Kirk Cousins, because of the Falcons and the way that contract was situated, you could get Kirk Cousins back in Minnesota for next to nothing. Who would you rather have?
That's so spicy that I can't believe no one else has thought
I've
of
never
it.
heard anybody bring this up. Nobody.
So now they're blowing their own horns about the only person to bring things up. Who would ever come up with an idea and then talk about how they're the only person?
I always love that one.
There's a reason.
They're talking about something that nobody else is talking about.
Well, and number two, there's a reason nobody else has brought it up, because it's not going to happen. But he is right, because if the Falcons, how would it even work? Would they have to release him? Because what they're talking about is whatever Cousins has owed to him, the Falcons would have to pay most of that. Is that correct? Well, then
so it's possible, what are the odds they're going to keep Kirk Cousins at that dollar amount, right? Like, logically speaking, you're probably going to cut him before the season begins if you can't trade him, which they probably can't trade him. Nobody's going to bring on that contract. So if they let him go, and maybe there's a certain date they're waiting for to let him go, I don't know. And all of a sudden he's a free agent. If Darnold doesn't come back here, and if you want to give J.J. McCarthy another year, he was hurt last year. Maybe he still needs to learn some things. Kirk already knows the system, and you could get him on the cheap.
So if they released him and he became a free agent, then could you sign Cousins for the NFL minimum, or would he make what he was making?
You could sign him for whatever he would agree to. Yeah,
well, right.
Like,
so the Falcons,
Russell Wilson played for the bare minimum last year for Pittsburgh because Denver was on the hook for his contract.
Well, okay, but that still meant Denver had to pay Russ Wilson how much money?
It was tens and millions.
Okay.
20, 30 million, probably, whatever it was.
Well, then why would anybody release somebody and still pay him what you have to pay him and not have him on your roster?
I'm assuming from a salary cap standpoint.
Okay.
Like, you're not getting the full discount, but you're getting it, You're
getting some.
I'm making up this number right now. Okay. So this is just a hypothetical here.
Right.
But let's say Kirk Cousins is $35 million against the salary cap this year for Atlanta. But if you cut him, you save like $10 million.
I see. Okay.
And all of a sudden he's $25 million against your cap.
Okay.
Right? Like, so you'd rather have that 10 than have him as a backup quarterback for $35 million.
Would you? Because if you are the Falcons and you thought you were so close that you went out to get Cousins and it didn't work, what if you go ahead with, who is their quarterback? Is it Bo?
No, it's not Bo Nix.
Which guy's their guy?
Why am I? His name? Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, Penix Jr. Yeah. So let's say Penix struggles or gets hurt. If they really have aspirations to be a contending team, if you go from Penix out for the season and go to a Josh Dobbs type, you're done. At least with Cousins, you can go, guy's got a track record. And if we have to pay $10 million insurance policy, an extra $10 million for that insurance
that was
policy.
Made up numbers by me. Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It might be 20.
Right, whatever. To me, it's still, I think Atlanta keeps him, but maybe not. And under that scenario, I guess it's not so preposterous. But
Denver paid Russell Wilson to get him off the team last year. Secondly, the Vikings were paying, they had Kirk Cousins money against the cap last year.
I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I think Kirk Cousins is, what did Charge say about?
He's cooked?
He's cooked. I think Kirk Cousins is cooked. So I don't think I would want to go in that direction, but maybe it will. I'm surprised nobody's come up with that before. It's interesting and controversial. Affordable Electric just brought you Peek at the Purple. They're your old home specialist. They know all about old home wiring. They'll inspect it. If you got issues, they'll take care of it. Reach out to them today. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Despite the fact that the preposterous statement tournament is now in our rearview mirror, it's still raising controversy, Tennessee. Got a couple of PST notes for you. Some of the Vikings tidbits. Also, someone wants to know what Tennessee knows about the latest member of the Minnesota Wild who was acquired in a trade. We'll do all of that and more before we bring Lil B into the conversation. Feminine Touch of the program at 1 o'clock right here on The Fan.
That's a KFAN and K102 crossover tonight at Wild Bill's in Apple Valley for a Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party. Join Amy James from K102 at 7 p.m. to watch your Timberwolves in action against Miami and to sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this year. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Genevieve, if you were to use one word to describe the Common Man program, what would that word be? Whatever you want.
Moronic.
Some people would. I would say cerebral. Can you look up the definition of cerebral for me and tell me what it says? And we'll let the listeners decide moronic or cerebral, because I have a text message that came in that is negative in tone, and I want to explain exactly what I'm doing here, but I need to know if cerebral is correct.
Cerebral.
Great word.
Of or relating to the cerebrum or the brain, betraying or characterized by the use of the intellect rather than intuition or instinct.
Yeah. I use a lot of intuition, women's intuition, as a matter of fact. It's one of the female traits I have, wearing women's underwear, part of my turn on, shopping, and women's intuition. The reason I bring it up is because this text message sent from the 218, signed a disgruntled listener, says, "Hey, Carmen, did you know how many times that text will come over and instead of Carmen, it says Carmen?" And I don't know what that is. I think it's probably,
autocorrect.
Autocorrect.
Yeah.
Right? And it goes with Carmen. I know two Carmens. Carmen the nurse. She was on Popeye and Pete when I was a little kid on a Channel 11 TV show, one of those kid shows. And then there was Carmen Basilio, the onion farmer. He was at one time the middleweight champion of the world back in the 50s.
I know Carmen Sandiego,
And there's Carmen
which was a television show in the 90s, a game show for kids, like a geography show.
So there's three different Carmens that I know. This one says, "I love how you always take shots at KOC. Seriously, how did the Vikings hurt you? Point to us on the doll and show us where the Vikings hurt you." This is where the cerebral part comes in. I'm not taking shots at KOC. I'm taking shots at those that are calling him a quarterback whisperer because of Sam Darnold's success. He could very well be I just have doubts that it's all because of KOC. That's all. And I'm making fun of more of the people that because it's everywhere. I mean, it's now taken as a matter of fact, if you looked up his Wikipedia page, it probably says Kevin O'Connell's a head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He's considered a quarterback whisperer. That's just taken as gospel. I mean, he could very well be. I'm sure he does do well with quarterbacks. But Sam was a third-round pick overall, and Sam learned quite a lot in San Francisco the year before he came here.
There's really only one person that's proven he's a quarterback whisperer in town, and that would be Rick Spielman, because he whispered in Josh Freeman's ear at the press conference.
That's exactly right. So I'm not making fun of KOC. He's a terrific coach. He's coach of the year. The Wilfs made the right decision, I believe. Remember, it was Harbaugh or KOC. I was a Harbaugh guy. Probably why? Because he was more of a known quantity to me than Kevin O'Connell was. And I thought Harbaugh could bring a no-nonsense style. Harbaugh, very successful at every level he's coached. Last stop before he got back in the league, he won a national championship. He never won the big game, but he got there, the Brother Bowl, when he faced his brother Jim in the big game. So it's not a cheap shot at KOC, trust me. Text messages that came in tend to be on the heels, or emails that came in. Did I say text or email? Emails that came in on the heels of the preposterous statement tournament. This one says, "Hi, Comment. In reference to the discussion you and Tenna had a couple of days ago, I support doing a specialty PST. I would love seeing a tournament of champions, but would especially love a tournament of non-winners. I know the selection process would be tough, but I'd like to throw a few of my favorites in the hat. There are two from last year that I can't believe didn't beat out Adam Thielen's boring player speak statement. The first was Ohtani not being a good fit for the Twins.
Yes.
And the second is Callie McManus has Mahomes in him. Yes, I said it. Yes, I meant it." Yeah. Who said that one?
Dave Schwartz.
Dave Schwartz.
Yes. I agree. I was surprised the Thielen one won last year.
I have one more from 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't remember who said it, but it went something like, "Leaving a rookie quarterback alone on the sideline is like leaving a baby in a hot car." That would be as preposterous as it gets. If nothing else, Hopefully remembering these statements gives you a chuckle, as it always does for me. Signed Slice Into the Woods guy. And then I thought, well, Tennessee could have just said this to me. I get it, because you're a Slice Into the Woods guy. Then there's this one, Tennessee. You get ripped. I hope you don't take it personal. Common, I'm sure that after another PST, you, Tenna, the committee, and the coroner's office will be meeting soon to review how things went and how to make it even better. That's a preposterous statement in itself. With that in mind, allow me to make a few suggestions. How about this, Tennessee? A 2-tier tournament. Much like the state hockey tournament did 35 years ago, it's time for the PST to go to 2 classes. A 32-statement local division and a 32-statement national division. Far from destroying the tournament, I think separating the Tommy Olsons is and the Kevin Gorgses is from the Draymond Greens is and the Myles Garrett's is makes a lot of sense and will increase interest in PST, Triple V, Triple I. We take all suggestions under advisement. Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Just have 2 champions everywhere?
Yeah, because I will say that I prefer when a local wins. Now, if those that are judging the preposterous statement tournament, listening to the preposterous statement, voting on, think it's a national guy like it is with Draymond Green, well, then it is. But I do like that idea. And then there was this one that said, number 2, eliminate actions. It was a travesty a few years ago when Clint Frazier won the PST. After it was reported that he suggested that Mickey Mantle's number 7 be unretired by the Yankees so he could wear it. There was never a direct quote or any audio. It was a preposterous action, not a statement. The same almost happened this year with Alyssa Milano, who started a fundraiser for her child's Little League team. Again, a preposterous action, not a statement. It's the PST, not a PAT. Now, he does raise a point. I've thought of that before, that they don't actually go with a statement. But even though we didn't have audio or a direct quote, I have to assume Clint Frazier suggested unretiring number 7 so he could wear it, because no one would know that. It's not like anybody read his mind. So even though we didn't have audio or direct statement, it's obviously he did say it somewhere. Mm-hmm. Number 3, no audio, no entry.
Oh, wow.
I know why the interim label hasn't, this is where you get ripped.
Yeah.
I know why the interim label hasn't been removed from 10B. There were at least a half a dozen statements this year from KFAN personnel for which he had no audio. How can that be? These comments were all made on KFAN. The recordings must exist. Hearing a statement read does not compare to hearing the actual comment. Very lazy on Tennessee's part. And, I don't know if it's laziness, but maybe he's sort of, after working with me for so long, it's just kind of rubbed off on him maybe that, the less effort you put in, the better it is for everybody. I'd suggest that if there's no audio, the statement should be disqualified from the tournament. I don't agree with that.
We wouldn't be able to fill a tournament then.
Right.
We don't have enough audio statements.
Just my 2 cents. Keep up the work. Mobile Pete.
No tweets would ever be used.
Would you like to defend yourself on the audio from KFAN people? There must be audio.
I would say it's probably partial laziness.
Right.
I don't think I can run from that. But the other part of it is I am not listening to KFAN 24 hours a day.
Correct.
I know it's...
Oh my gosh. What do you mean? I listen to it all the time and podcast every show.
I don't listen to the radio station 24/7.
Right.
Many times I'm at the mercy of rubes.
Correct.
Submitting preposterous statements. And they don't always pull the audio. They don't always give the exact time it was uttered. Sometimes they're doing the time on the podcast as opposed to the time of the day. Like it's a little more complex, and I'd rather just have the statement than not have it at all.
And there you go. There's the explanation. We'll try. What really benefits us, and again, we're asking you to do our work for us, but we've always done it that way. For the longest time, we had a slogan here at the company: less is more. And so I took that to heart. The less I do, the more better it is. More better. The better it is for me. The less I do, the more I like it. And I think Tennessee agrees. But if you tell us when it was on, we get people that will say, Barney the Purple Dinosaur at 10:43 on Tuesday. Then it's easy for Tennessee to go to 10:43 Tuesday. I think I heard him say something the last couple of weeks. He's not going to call through 4 3-hour shows of the Paul Allen Project.
Some people will actually, and this might come across as lazy for me, some people will actually pull the audio and send the audio. Mm-hmm. And that is actually the most efficient way to do it because, one, obviously it's there as opposed to me. Sometimes they say 10:13 and it's not at 10:13. Right. They're just going off of what time they think it is. And now you're listening to, and then let's be honest, sometimes they'll send it, hey, PA said this at 10:15, and it wasn't really what he said at 10:15. So I just wasted 20 minutes of my day combing through it. So it'd be nice if it just get the audio yourself and send it to me.
Or it's not as good a PST as
yes.
You go, well, yeah, I mean, that's sort of preposterous.
Correct.
Is it really worth it? Because there are so many that are given to us. On the topic of, I said if Penix gets hurt, you'd want Cousins there. That's why you have 5 quarterbacks play every game. So that Penix does get hurt, you have 4 guys to choose from that have seen game action. They're not coming in rusty, and you got 4 to choose from, not just one. Why is nobody talking about that? Are they talking about that on the NFL Network? I haven't heard that suggestion. That's a really, really good idea. Tend to be a number of people
love that one.
Have actually emailed to say, can you have Teneby tell us what he knows about the player that the Wild acquired? They made a trade yesterday, is that correct?
Last night.
Tell me what the trade was and then your thoughts on it, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the pros and cons.
Well, they sent your guy, Marat Husnadinov. Right. I don't even know if you saw the audio bit for that. I don't have that. It's not on your page anymore? I can't find it.
I covered it.
They sent Marat Husnadinov. They sent Jakub Lako, so basically 2 4th-liners, and a 6th-round pick to the Boston Bruins for basically another 3rd, 4th-liner.
Okay.
And I didn't know a whole lot about him. His name is Justin Brazeau. When I saw the trade, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, right? Yeah. He wasn't drafted, undrafted player. He's 27 and really didn't even get into the NHL until last year. So this isn't a young prospect who's been highly regarded, even though he did score a little bit in juniors. But I'm not going to act like I know a lot about him other than I've read up on him. I've watched, like a highlight video of him. He's huge. He's a big dude. He's right-hand shot.
Huge. No, how does Trump say it?
Huge.
He's huge.
He's 6'6". So he's probably got a little power forward to him. I think in his 57 or 75 games for Boston, he's put up 20 points, though he hasn't been scoring recently, which is why the reason they're willing to let him go. So I don't really know what to think about it. Other than, I never did believe when they sent Husnadinov down to Iowa just recently, they tried to act like it was strictly a business thing. He's still young, and he has NHL elite speed, but there was a lot in his game where I'm like, Like, if you're going to be on the 4th line as a center, and you need to be able to be good defensively, and I did not think he was a very good defensive player in your own zone. And if you're not going to be good defensively, you got to be able to contribute offensively, and He's still young, still early in his career. I just don't think he'll ever have a whole lot of offensive upside. Maybe he can find his way into being like a 3rd-line center that's a defensive center throughout his career just because he can skate. But you're not giving up a ton, but I don't know if they're really bringing in a whole lot other than Bill Guerin has identified we need some more size on this team if we're going to be in a playoff. And by the way, right now they're set up to play the Dallas Stars in the first round of the playoffs, and they just acquired Mikko Rantanen today. So Dallas is pretty loaded.
Okay.
I would not be excited for a first-round series against them.
Is this trade, as far as you can tell, I'm just asking you for, your guess, I guess. Your guess, I guess. I guess. Is this trade for the immediate or for the future or both or who knows, right? I mean, because it just seems like it's going to take, it's a heck of a mountain to climb for this team to make a dent in the playoffs unless Kaprizov and Ek come back both healthy. So I don't know what the point of the trade is.
Probably to bring in more size. It's a signal that we've given up on those other players.
Okay, right.
Right. That they're not going to work here. Let's try to get something for them. And they I'm thinking they think Brazeau is more capable of playing in a playoff series where the game gets a lot more physical than those. And, they're pretty small elsewhere, right? I mean, Husnadina is a small center. Marco Rossi is a small center. Fred Goudreau is not an overly physical player. Then you already have Zuccarello on your team, right? They already have a lot of smallish forwards, so maybe they're just trying to diversify a little bit here. But I don't know enough about him to give you a strong opinion on him.
So that's
the trade in general.
So there's where we're at. We'll just have to see. As we like to say, we'll just play it by ear and find out what happens there. I saw a.
We still got an hour and 12 minutes for the deadline, but I saw a report from Russo that they think Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek and Brodin are not on long-term injured reserve. Kaprizov's the only one. They still think he'll be back. Kaprizov, I'm speaking of, before the season's over, which means the LTI, if he was to be out the rest of the season, you would then have money to be able to spend.
Okay.
Or at least not to spend, but to be able to bring in some salary. If they're planning on having Kaprizov back for the regular season, then all of a sudden they have no space at all. And so I think they're just going to be, barring some miracle here, they're not going to do anything before 2 o'clock.
National Football League.
And Brock Nelson, by the way, is in Colorado. He got traded to the Colorado Avalanche. So that was one of the names we were looking at.
Okay. So Nelly's in Colorado, so he won't be coming here. I saw
maybe in the summer.
This is I bring this up because it's Myles Garrett related. Because they're PA apparently when he was at the Barney the Purple Dinosaur, when he was at the Combine, anybody that would listen, he was thinking we were supposed to trade this person, that person to get Myles Garrett. PA wants him desperately. I think a lot of teams would. Myles Garrett has declared he wants to be traded. His plan wasn't to go from Cleveland to Canton. Has Myles Garrett been traded?
No. But your guy Jordan Schultz, who likes to pick fights at Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
He just tweeted, sources, while Minnesota wants him back, free agent cornerback Byron Murphy is poised to hit the open market on Monday when the legal tampering period begins, and he's anticipated to have a strong market. The 27-year-old is coming off a Pro Bowl season, has totaled 9 interceptions over the last 2 years with the Vikings.
Doesn't mean he couldn't come back here, but he's going to entertain offers.
He wants to make some money.
I don't blame him. Again, I know we all want, probably fans in every city want their players to be loyal to them. What he got against us isn't great, but oftentimes you only become a free agent once or twice, and you want to get while the getting's good. You got short careers. $30 million ain't going to get you to the grave, foo. So, and then of course, with the fines in these professional leagues tend to be, the leagues are not set up for players to retire with any real wealth, So maybe he needs to get his money. We'll see how that works out. I don't know what kind of money he would be able to get. I don't know what are the best cornerbacks in the business making? Who's the highest paid cornerback? And then you whittle it down from there. Would he get top 5 money? I don't know. We decided not to chise anybody. There were only only two teams chised people this year. And I always thought, I guess I just not paying as close attention, not only the NFL in general, but specifically franchise tags. I thought almost every team franchised somebody, but I guess maybe not because only 2 did. But I bring up the Myles Garrett thing because PA was excited to have him. There was rumors at the Lions, that Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson were almost blood brothers. They wanted to work together. That would be a dangerous combination if you put Myles Garrett, one of the best edge rushers in pro football, along with Aiden Hutchinson, one of the best edge rushers in pro football. But a story I just saw came out a few hours ago from Jared Dublin. He writes football for CBS Sports. It says, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam refuses meeting with Myles Garrett amid trade request stalemate. Now, I didn't realize the owner had maybe I missed it, or maybe this is real recent. He has no interest in trading Myles Garrett. And I don't blame him. I mean, you invest in a guy, he's as good as it gets at that position. And most owners are in the business of trying to acquire the best players for the least amount of money and contending, right? But boy, when you have a guy that wants to be traded and you don't trade him, I mean, if you acquiesce to every trade request and there was interest in him, you wouldn't probably have a team anymore. But boy, when you annoy somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he really wants to go and you're saying, sorry, you ain't going anywhere, you're playing for us, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, really? So now you got disgruntled employee, right? Edge rusher.
Yeah.
I don't think he would intentionally
tank the
season. But I will remind people of which Green Bay Packer was it? I bring the story up all the time.
Was it McKenzie?
I think
the cornerback?
It was one of the defensive backs. And he wanted to be traded. And they refused to. And then I think it was the first day of training camp. He said, my hammy's bad. Boy, not sure if I'll be able to play it all this season. And all of a sudden they said, I get it. And then they traded him like a day or two later. So like, okay. Because a player, all he really has to do is feign injury. How do you, I got a bad hammy. I can't go. I mean, it's already been sort of suggested with another current Packer, right? I've heard from people that I trust that follow the Packers pretty closely. Jair Alexander, I mean, he doesn't play at all anymore, right? How many snaps did he take last year? He didn't even play much. And there's the idea that, I don't know if he's being considered, if he's being called soft, or if he just really doesn't want to play, if he's disgruntled, but he's not playing much. And now apparently the Packers, I think, are open to moving away from Alexander. And then you go, well, he's a pretty talented kid. We talked about this, I think it was either earlier this week or last week, about how it was, I look forward to individual matchups. You know me, I like to break football down. It's not just a team game. There are individual matchups. And we thought we were going to be exposed to a nice matchup twice a year between Alexander and Jets. Best wide receiver in the game, or one of the top one or two against one of the better defensive backs in the league. And again, apparently, we're not going to see that often because Alexander doesn't feel like playing. Whether the Packers part ways with him or not remains to be seen. So, someone sent this text message that said, "Do the Vikes have any interest in big play Slay?" Yeah, I don't know. I watched him play closely, watched him play for the Kitties for a couple of years, and he moved on to Philadelphia. He's a good player. Again, I think isn't he in his 30s? I don't know what he's got left.
He's been around a long time.
I'm a cunning and guile guy, though. I will say that if a guy isn't injury riddled, if he's able to play, and maybe we brought this example up again. The hitman, Harrison Smith, is he a half step slower, maybe so, but man, cunning and guile can make up for a half step slow. And so I think it would be beneficial. I mean, I think the Vikings, B-Flow, from everything I hear, the people I trust, he would be delighted and excited to have the hitman back. We'll see how that goes. Let's take a break. We're going to shift. Gears here. Lil B, Feminine Touch of the program, joins us next, and then Program Password at 1:30. We'll welcome Amy James of K102 and Nordo from the Power Trip Morning Show, the mad producer. All that coming up here on the Common Man program on the Fan.